Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful Porch Hills of Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee, the home of Alvin York and Dolly Parton and a lot of other people. Yeah, and yeah, sorry that you're not. Well, am I sorry you're not here? Well, you are here. Yeah, you're here. I invited you in to watch me plink with a couple of firearms and yak about meaningless stuff. So I'm glad you came by, and that most of you come by every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday. Yeah, appreciate that, or at least a lot of you. Yeah, appreciate that. Oh man, ammo. Don't mix up the ammo. The cases. Glad you came out. I'm still on the porch. I'm still, yeah, one leg. I'm up to 25, 50% on my right leg. Now, 50% doesn't mean, well, yeah, of course, you got two legs. You walk with 50% on each leg. Yeah. Uh, but it really means 50% of the weight you normally put on that leg. I don't know if I'm officially it's 50 anyway, although I'm fudging and putting 50 or more. Uh, so walking normally would be 100% on each leg, in other words. Okay, because when you live, here's a newsflash for you. You lift your left leg, guess where all the weight is as you're walking? It's on the other leg, 100% of it, right? So, yeah. Anyway, that's where I am. And I could fumble around and eventually get set up on one of the ranges, but I don't know, it's just a little bit easier, not easy, but easier just to bring out to the porch here. And, but I'll get back to, I'll probably gravitate towards the main shooting table for a while, and then when I can get around better, maybe without crutches at all, I'll get back over on the other hill, depending on the weather, really, too, because now we're moving into fall and winter, so we'll see. But I'll be here on Sunday. I think I'll be here every Sunday. I did make over 300 of them religiously without fail. So maybe I deserve a break if I don't do a Sunday video sometime in January or something. But we'll see how that goes. So you saw what I have. I have my Model 29 Classic out. Well, it's, my classic Model 29, put it that way, because they still make these things. And they call them the Model 29 Classic or the Model 19 Classic, right? But they're not totally classic. Uh, some of them have sleeve barrels and all that kind of thing. This is a classic made in the early 70s. You've seen it if you've been around for long, because I've had it for now 51 years. I thought I'd bring it out before the year's out. This is the 51st year I've owned it, bought it new. So 50 years was a pretty big deal, but I might make a big deal out of it every year, every fall when it turns another year. I bought it in October of 1974, which makes it 51 years old and 51 years in my possession. And it still shoots, do you notice? Specials or magnums. Yeah, and it might shoot it again. Oh man, yeah. Don't forget the people that help us out. Just got some ammo from Underwood this week. Got some new 44 Magnum and some other stuff. And uh, Davis's Gallery Guns. Get that guaranteed lifetime replacement. And don't forget to sign up for their great gun giveaway while you're over there. Silencer Central. Those wonderful Banish suppressors. I had one ready to bring out today, and then I kind of changed gears, but maybe next week. And yeah, then SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute, appreciate their help. Distance Learning School, all kinds of courses you can take there. And then those wonderful little Kydex Alabama holsters. I don't have one for this gun I'm going to shoot, but I just got this to review, quote unquote. But we appreciate Alabama Holster. Great little holsters. I use them every day. Yeah, and you know the story in my crazy motorcycle wreck. Crashed my glasses, totally destroyed them. These are some backups I can't see as well with. I'm going to get to the eye doctor here within the next month and get that worked on. I don't know if I'll just get a stopgap, get some new glasses. I know I want to get possibly my lens replaces, maybe LASIK. I don't know, but get a good examination and decide on that. I might just get a set of glasses to get me back to close to 20/20 vision through the winter, and then have that done in the spring if I'm going to or something. I don't know, but anyway. I don't know what else. Appreciate Ballistol, wonderful lube on all these guns, and Talon grips. I've got some coming for this. Guess what this is? Can you tell by looking at it? I'm kind of lower today, right? This is the H&K CC9. Okay, CC9. Been wanting to get a hold of it, and did this week from Davidson's Gallery of Guns. It's on loan, and I have fired it some. Yeah, I kind of like it a little bit. I have to say, I haven't fired a lot, but I kind of like it. I got a big negative to complain about, and it's not necessarily the actual firearm, but it's H&K. And man, I'm worn out today because of it. I'll tell you about that. You're dying to know, aren't you? Why I might be worn out. I get. I'm out. I'm driving now. Same old deal though. Just because I can get in the car and drive doesn't mean, oh, all right, back to normal, go anywhere I want. Yeah, I can sort of do that if it's not too long. But what am I gonna do when I get there? This is like around here. It was frustrating not being able to get off the porch, and now I can get off of it. My crutches, and I can even walk down there and around. And I burn some boxes and stuff. Yeah, I can do that, but I can't do a lot. I'm still on crutches, so it's not like I can go there and work on the range or even set targets. I don't think I could even get over there. I could go over on the mule and park close to something and work on it. I did that. I painted the gong that way. That was over a week ago, I guess, but if it's dry, kind of thing. So even though I can drive, but anyway, today I kind of outdid myself, overdid it almost, just because I really can't put much weight on that leg, so I got to drag my crutches out wherever I go. And I was looking for something. I'll tell you about. I wanted to shoot this again with some magnums. Can I do that before I go into that boring story? Because it relates to H&K, and you need to know about it. They need to know about it. I'm going to gripe some. I'll tell you. I've got a big gripe. We'll see while it's fresh on my mind, and I'm worn out from it today. Yeah, all because of H&K. Yeah, the H&K Firearms Company is responsible for me being really worn out. I got back an hour ago. I was going to do this today. I'm late in the week, of course, and was going to do it. Well, I say of course. I usually do a day or two before. The Sunday morning, right? And when it posts, I got back and I just had to flop out of the couch and put my foot up because I'm out a long time anyway. It's down, it gets even more swollen, but it's almost always swollen. It is always swollen, even when it's up. But yeah, I had to rest up. I don't know. Again, I don't have the endurance, from lying around for all these weeks. You lose some strength and endurance, and just not. I was always out walking the road, and walking the place, and I just haven't done that. I haven't been totally inert. Some people have a really hard time. If you have some serious accident or surgery and you really can't move, you can get out of the bed for weeks or something, and you're a long time rehabilitating and barely out of the bed for months. Boy, I can really appreciate how difficult that is to get your strength back, slowly, because I notice I get worn out. Of course, you're wrestling with the crutches and all that, and trying to walk using your arms and legs both. It is a little more taxing to begin with, but I really have an appreciation for how difficult it is for other people, because mine, while it's not minor, it's not as bad as it could have been, and or as bad as a lot of people's accidents or predicaments they find themselves in. Anyway, can I shoot this 44 Magnum with some Magnums? All right. Okay, now I need to shoot one. This thing. Speaking of that, it was kind of beginning to get heavy on me as I was shooting it. I mean, it's a big old heavy long barreled 29. But I can tell the difference just in the weight of the firearm, holding it out there for a long time. All right. But you know what makes it a little bit lighter? Like I've got 240, let's see, 245 grain bullets, 245 grain bullets. So it's a pretty heavy gun, fully loaded. But guess what makes it a little bit lighter? Yeah, figured that out, didn't you? Every time you pull the trigger, it's 245 grains lighter. Plus, whatever powder they use, it's 4, 5, 10 grains lighter in terms of gunpowder that's gone, right? All right. I don't want to drop my gun down there on the blacktop. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Let's put one on that pumpkin. You want to? Woo! That was loud. I wasn't ready for it. Okay. Let's put another one on him. That one went on the bottom part of him. Yeah. Woo! Those are hot. Let's just blow up a 2-liter with one. Yeah, that's a handful, one-handed, I'll tell you. I'm going to turn around here and get my other hand on that thing. Yeah, kicks. All right, old pumpkin. Yeah, I'll let you know we're here, didn't it? Oh, I shot 5. I am so accustomed to shooting the single actions that I got 5 in my head. All right, we got one more. What about it, cowboy? Boom. All right. Yeah, those are pretty stout. These are pretty stout. Nice. Yep, the good old Model 29, 51 years. Long time. Long time. Oh, man. Yeah, speaking of the past, a long time back, speaking of 74, when I bought that, I don't know if these things pop up for you. They've been popping up for me on, I don't know, YouTube or Instagram on my phone lately. Or these little videos. They're usually shorts or reels, and it'll be like last day of class, last day of high school, 1977 or 1983. Class, and usually it's a high school 1983 or something, and maybe the last day or not the last day, but someone is filming, and it's real. It's not, it's not made up. And it's interesting to see, though. You've seen there's other sorts of things like that pop up. Everything on the phone or on YouTube or Instagram is not just stupid and IQ reducing. That's the thing. There's so much like that that's pretty interesting that can keep you glued to it if you're not careful, right? But there are these things that pop up like that. I've noticed there'll be like your grandma's house in 1970 or something, or 1965, and it'll just be different pieces of furniture, glassware, or the car, whatever that was common back then, bedspreads and decor, wallpaper, or kind of thing. And if you got any age on you, you can really appreciate that because that's just like my mom or where I grew up, or that kind of thing. And that lamp, oh yeah, we had one of those clocks, just like that, or my granddad did, or my uncle did. And so those are kind of neat to see the nostalgic of it and everything. With these high school last days sorts of things in the 80s or 90s and the 70s are kind of interesting to me because guess what? I was before that. I was My last day of high school was '68. But anyway, if you've lived and you were of age in the '60s or '70s or '80s, uh, and it's just interesting from just a sociological, psychological perspective for me, because it's just interesting because they're pretty candid. Now, someone's got a camera, and that's the other thing that's different. Someone's got a camcorder. That's what it would have been, right, in '77 or '80, early '80s or '85 or something, on their shoulder, probably, filming it, or some big thing, and uh, to a VHS tape or whatever, beta maybe. But just seeing the kids and the hairstyles and the clothes and everything, that's pretty interesting. And then the reaction to the camera, because it's different than today. Like if someone's walking around with their phone at the last day of school or whatever, I guess the last day of school or Christmas break, the day before break, things are loose, everybody's around, and they're not having real classes, and so that makes sense. Those would be around. Someone has it on tape, and you're allowed the tape, and everybody's having kind of fun the last day and that sort of thing. Uh, but all the kids in the hallway, it's interesting because if you did it today, and you just held your phone up and you were just filming the hall, most people would not even react. Even if they know they're being filmed, they're always being filmed, and they just look, and they might make sure they're not picking their nose or something, or they're not flirting with someone else's girlfriend or something. If someone's filming, they got the camera up maybe, or the phone. But back then, it was more of a novelty for someone to have a camcorder and be filming you. So, some of the kids feel obligated to put on the show, or hey, I'll make a face, or yeah, or do something, crazy. And as people realize there's someone with a camera filming them, and then they all kind of, hey, they kind of react and all that, make a big deal. It's more of a novelty. That's one thing that's different, I noticed. And the other thing too, I always notice in old movies or anything like that, it's just so interesting how different life was. And that's the way it was for me for a long time. For 45 years, 50 years, no phones, no devices like this. And the kids are standing around over at the locker in the background, even the ones that don't know they're being filmed yet or whatever. You see people are in groups of 3 or 4 or whatever, somebody's messing around the locker, or they're not all with their heads in their phone. And it really is a nostalgic thing, and you can't help but think, man, the good old days when people kind of talked to each other and were looking at each other and just seemed happier. Of course, it's the last day of school in these videos, and some of them know they're being filmed. But I don't know. It just really makes you long for those days, and wish they had not gone away. It just had to be in total better, healthier than in so many ways, without social media, and and everybody with their phone, the whole world at their fingertips, and always in that world, usually in stupid stuff, right? But they're just really striking when you see those. Just notice that that it's the phones are conspicuous by their absence. You could say, just so obvious. And it might take you a minute to think, and now you won't take you a minute because I just reminded you, right? Clued you in. But you look at those and you think, wow, it's just so different. Oh yeah, yeah. What's so different is everybody in the background and wherever, they're not preoccupied with a phone. They're not preoccupied. Their attention drawn to this little rectangular thing. So it's just saying that they're talking, and and if someone's standing by themselves, they're just looking around, and they're maybe about to get involved in a conversation with somebody because maybe they feel awkward standing there, and they're going to go, oh, there's Joe, I'll go over and talk to him or so. The phone gives you an out. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't want to, do you? So anyway, those are interesting. I don't know if you find those interesting. I do, because I growed up in a time like that. Yeah, without my device. Without my device. What am I going to shoot? Well, okay, let's shoot this thing. Oh, well, let me tell you. Let me shoot it, then I'll tell you why I'm mad at H&K. I just shoot some normal ammo. I got some hollow points, some of the Underwood hollow points I put in. Make sure it'll feed a hollow point. I don't think I've fired a hollow point in it yet. Okay, H&K CC9. It's been out a while. Here comes a car. Now, they're going to pull in. They get a lot of people stopping. Looky-loo here. Let's see. Okay. Let me get turned around here where I'm not too unsafe. I don't know if I can hit anything with it, but one-handed, awkward position. But I'll try. Let's just pop that pumpkin some more. Are y'all still watching? Yeah. All right. I think I heard a little ring on that one on the gun. So I kind of like it. It's a little lighter in a way. As I got it out of the box, I thought, that's neat. It's really melted, you know, without the edges and all that. I might kind of like it, except you got a thin grip on it. And I said, well, how different is it from a Glock 26 though? Seems about the same size. I haven't held them up together, but it is lighter. And that's a big deal. 18 ounces, 18.4 something. Looked up the Glock 26. It's like 22 something, right? Or 21. It's almost 22, around 22. So we're talking about 18 and about 22. So 3 or 4 ounces lighter. That's interesting because it feels. And what got me, I was watching somebody talk about it, and they were measuring the length of pull and all this kind of thing, and they were talking about and I was watching the trigger where it breaks. I thought, wow, that's cool. It breaks really far forward, you know, and but I'll like that. That's before I got this. Picked it up at Clarksville Guns and Archery the other day. Like I say, I was on loan from Davidson's Gallery of Guns, but and it does. It has it's one of those that I can't complain about where the trigger breaks like I do sometimes. It reminds you of a Taurus, what GX4, whatever. I forget the model numbers on those. I know one of the criticisms of those, for me, is where the trigger breaks really far rearward, and but man, this one, it breaks out there. Yeah, it feels good. So I'm anxious to get a Glock 26 out and do some comparison for myself, not only for a video, and all that. So kind of like the Shield, the grip is a little thin, and so I'm going to break my normal operation if I can, and get some Talon grips on it before I do video. I don't normally do that on a borrowed gun necessarily. It's going back. But if it's like the Shield or like this, I want to, I don't know, give a more objective look. It just needs a little build up on the grip. It just really does before it feels right to me. This one I don't think is as bad as a Shield, but it's thin. So that brings me to why I am tired today, why I'm mad at H&K. So I contacted Talon Grips, see if they had them for this. They could send them. Yeah, you know, what are you going to put the back strap on it? You know, the large back strap. And so, oh yeah, probably. I went and I looked, dug it out, and I said, okay, yeah, I think that'll feel better. It's got a little bit of a beaver tail, not that that's needed, but it's a little bigger. So, yeah, I'll just put that on this one, make it as big as I can, because I think I like this gun. So yeah, you just pop the pin out there and do it. All right. Well, that's the grips I have coming, and so I got looking at it, And I said, oh my gosh, a roll pin. Why don't they take a lesson from Glock? You know, a roll pin to get out to pull off the back strap and put another one on. So I got the manual out. Okay, let me make sure. Read how you do this. Get that out and put the other one on because I didn't see an easy, simple way. You know, like some guns, you just twist the bottom, pull it off, all that kind of thing. Smith and Wessons, different ones. And I could tell, okay, I guess that's got to come out. So I looked in the manual about how to change the back strap, and it said I need a punch that's what 2.8. I still got it in my pocket from around 2.8 millimeter. Yeah, 2.8 millimeters or 7/64. Okay, I had that in my notes. You know, took a picture of it, and I went to Clarksville today, and you know, up there I thought I'd eat out while I was there, and I'd run around and find me a punch. I looked in my punch set, nothing that size. And I got something close that wouldn't work. With roll pins, it's got to be pretty much exact. Unlike the Glock pins, man, you can punch them out with almost anything that's not too big. And okay, I tried three or four. They wasn't going to work. And I had basically a complete set. The roll pin just didn't have anything in that size. So, okay, I go to Clarksville. I thought, well, let me run by Tractor Supply first. They're not known for every tool in the world, but you know they ought to have a set. You know, nope, didn't have this size. So okay, I go eat. I go to Lowe's, close by. Okay, Lowe's. Look around and dig, and I'm on my crutches, and I'm having to haul myself through the parking lots and everything. And I don't park in the handicap. I mean, I can walk on my crutches. I'll leave those for other people. I've got a tag, temporary tag, but I don't really use it. Not since I've quit taking my scooter with me and would park in the handicap spot because my wife would have to go out and dig out the scooter out of the back and bring it around, get me out in the room. So I would do it when I was on the scooter. But if I can walk at all on the crutches, you know, I can walk across the parking lot. And no need me, you know, cluttering up the handicapped people with people in worse shape than I'm in. But anyway, so I get to Lowe's, and I mean, I got to walk 5 acres in Lowe's to get to it, so I can't. Sure, I can walk. If I can't walk across the parking lot, I can't do anything when I get in there. So I find the punches finally, and they don't have it in the size individually or any sets. They don't have any of that size. 7/64, 2.8 millimeter. All right, here we go. There's another cool place. It's Ace Hardware in Clarksville, Handy City it's called, down Riverside Drive. They got everything under the sun. So it's like someone took a Home Depot or a Lowe's and crammed it all into about, I don't know, a 10% of the size of the store. It's one of those hardware stores, kind of an old style you just can't help but love. But just everything is in there and crammed. And got their punch test, found it. Nope, nothing in that size. I come back to Ashland City. Ashland City, there's Ace Hardware, Midway, you know, kind of a redneck Ace Hardware for sure. And I like never got in there on crutches. There's just crazy steps getting in there and door. But they had punches, but nothing in that size. So that is, count them, four hardware stores I went to find that punch that they so casually mention in the instruction manual that you need to take off the back strap. Yeah, so 4 hardware stores basically, and none of them have a size like that. So I'm going to go online. Hopefully, I'm sure I can find one on Amazon. That's why Amazon's taken over the world. I mean, it happens so often. I love brick and mortar stores, but you know that happens so often, doesn't it? You can't find what you need. You end up going to Amazon. So then you get to where you go to Amazon first, you know, because you know they've got it. You know. So anyway, I mean, it's on there somewhere probably. Now, hopefully it'll be here in time, because we're going to do video next week on it, this week on it. And I got those grips coming, FedEx, for the backstrap. So we'll see how it goes. Such is life, first world problems, right? but really, why? I need to take a picture of a Glock pen and just send it to HK. Get away from the roll pen. If you're going to use a roll pen, how about the most common size? The size, like the punches, everywhere I went, they had them for like 1/4 inch, and I don't know, 3/8 or 5/16, whatever it was. There were, you would see the commonality everywhere. Those punches they had, and they'd have a set, and it would have. I saw a set somewhere. It had like, I don't know, 10 or 12. And you can tell they really tried to have all the sizes that you need, but not this one. So, all right, I trashed them over that, didn't I? But I think I like the gun. I think I like it. Let's try a hollow point. Want to? Now, I've noticed I just need to clean it, so I won't trash it over that yet. But once I get around in the chamber, I can't get it out. I've got to fire it out. I can't get the slide back. I haven't lost that much strength, but I'll clean it really well. That may just be because it's new. All right. Holler points. These are, what are they? These are Underwood 124 grain jacketed, 1225 feet per second, plus P. Plus P. Y'all still watching? Yeah. All right, Pumpkin, let's hit you again. Yeehaw! Nice. All right, let's hit the cowboy. Let's go on over there to the gong. All right, last one. I heard it. So, yeah, I don't know. If you got one of these, let me know what you think about it. It's really, it's kind of Glock-like in the fact that there's just no edges other than the sights. Really melted the controls, maybe more so than Glock even. And that's one of the things I like about Glock, and most people do. Yeah, I don't need that Picatinny rail, I guess that is on the bottom. If I were to buy one of these and to carry it, I'd be tempted to just Dremel that off. I really would. I would be tempted. A little pistol like this, I would just Dremel that right off. Reduce the value by half, but I don't care. If it's a carry gun and I want to do something to it, I'll do it. It's a tool. It's a tool. Okay. Well, I'll keep y'all too long again. Someone they were talking about liberty, something I was watching this week, and how we're so lucky we have liberty in this country and freedom and everything. And I tell you one thing that strikes me, I don't know what you think about, has this crossed your mind before? We make a huge deal out of freedom and liberty and independence and 1776 and, being a free country and having the liberty, we had all that kind of thing, liberty from control of another country, of course, and that kind of thing. And all that is great. When I think of liberty, freedom, I don't think of England. Do you? I don't think of breaking away from England. In the Tea Party, I'm talking about the Boston Tea Party. I do. I love watching and reading about all that. I mean, I won't say I don't think about it, but when I think of liberty and being proud to live in a country where I have liberty and freedom, I think of the Constitution, and I think of individual liberty, how we should have the liberty to, as a libertarian, to do pretty much what we want as long as we're not encroaching on other people. When I think of liberty, that's what I think about. I don't, you know, in a way, it's old news. Hundreds of years ago, what country used to control us? You know, whether you're talking about Cuba, you're talking about Mexico, you're the Spanish controlled, whether you're talking, whatever the country is, you're talking about. You know, so often they were controlled by some other country at some point, some other civilization. They broke away, you know, like Mexico did, Spain and whatever. So I don't know, Mexico, you know, brags about being free from Spain. Of course, they have coins to celebrate it, everything, the centenario or whatever, and everything. Well, but how free are you if you're a Mexican citizen? Are you as free as a citizen in the United States? I don't know, maybe you are, maybe you're not. But do you have the individual freedom from a libertarian standpoint to do the things you want to do and to be free from an overbearing government? You know, the whole reason, you know, we broke away from England, of course, was that overbearing government, taxation without representation, all that kind of thing. And, I mean, you could have the, I mean, you can be a free country from another country, but end up being socialist or communist, you know. So when I celebrate freedom or talk about freedom, think about freedom and liberty and that kind of thing, you know, I'm thinking about you and I having liberty, real liberty. To heck with history. I don't care where we, well, I care, but I mean, it's in that sense, it's irrelevant what happened 200-300 years ago. That's how we got in a place, in a way, you know, where we have liberty, we have our own constitution and that kind of thing. But, you know, that doesn't mean anything if we're not living it. And if government is getting so big that we are really, really limited in that liberty and freedom that we cherish so much. So anyway, I don't know if you've thought, if that crosses your mind. It does me. When I celebrate the 4th or I think of the flag, I'm looking at it there hanging now and all that kind of, I'm thinking of today and individual liberty and maintaining that freedom. The Constitution, what it all stands for, the Bill of Rights, and small government. I'm not thinking what happened 1776. You know, that doesn't mean we have any liberty now or freedom. That doesn't mean anything. Look at government; they're constantly trying to get bigger and more overbearing, and that's just what governments do. And so anyway, I was just crossed my mind. I don't know if y'all think about that, but you need to if you ain't thinking about that. We want to hang on to what freedom we have with technology and AI and everything. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to last to have even the freedom that we still have. Government, not only are they so big and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but the control through technology is just incredible, right? So, not that I'm up to anything. I'm not planning any revolution. I don't do anything illegal or anything really. It just, yeah, just I like my freedom. Yeah. So, what do you want me to shoot? Speaking of freedom, I had a lot of freedom back in 1974 to go buy this gun. Fortunately, we still have the freedom to do that, right? Especially this gun, you know, I guess in about every state. I don't know. Not this one in every state, no doubt. It's probably not on the list in California and whatever, I don't know. Plus there's a 12-round magazine, you know, so, yeah. So I could have bought 20 of those probably in any state I lived in 1974 when I bought this. But speaking of freedom going away, I'm sure there are several states, municipalities where you cannot buy this. I don't know. Anyway, let's celebrate. I think I'm going to shoot special. Man, those mags are pretty hot. I might have to get myself back in shape for that. I don't want to hurt. I don't enjoy things that hurt my hand. I really don't. All right. Model 29. If I didn't, sometimes I assume you know too much. I mean, most of you know it in your sleep, but there's new people even on Sunday videos. This is a 44 Magnum, a Model 29 Smith & Wesson, kind of the Dirty Harry gun, except in a longer barrel. And I've had it since 1974. Bought it new at Carter Hardware in Nashville, Tennessee. Bought it at a gun show, but Carter Hardware was set up there. They sold guns at the time. So, paid $389, I think, for it. I had the price tag for a long time. I think I've let it get away. All right. All right. Let's just reach out again. All right. I think I hit the red plate. I'm not getting a ring. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, got him that time. And let's put one on the cowboy. All right. Sweet, sweet gun. And it's still more accurate than I am after all these years. No doubt about it. I just thought, I've been thinking about bringing it out. Meant to in October and didn't do it. Yeah, it's a nice piece of hardware. As I've said before, if you have a firearm, I don't know what it might be, something you really like, that's just really shootable, fun to shoot. Maybe it's a fairly quality piece of some kind, you know, something besides a high point. I mean, you know, just a nice gun. You really enjoy it. If you're a young person, try to hang on to one. If you're a collector and you're always buying and trading and selling guns, that kind of thing, maybe hang on to one. There's something kind of neat. As you move through the years, you get in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and your 60s and your 70s, and you still have that same firearm, and you're enjoying it just as much as you ever did. Yeah, granted, you might have traded for something you enjoy just as much and everything, but there's something kind of special about, you know, that same thing, same firearm. It could be for anything, a watch or a ring or a car or whatever, but it's cool. This thing is just like it was in '74. I can hit just as well with it, I think, still. And I remember, you know, the day it came home. You know, it had a waiting period back then. But I remember keeping it in the wooden box right on top of a bookshelf. I didn't have a safe at the time. And I can see it lying there, that blue velvet you know, interior of the wooden Smith & Wesson box. I still have the box. All the interior is rotted away. But taking it out to the Owl Hollow Gun Club to shoot, taking it to the phosphate mine. There were places out in Franklin where they mine phosphate. And sometimes I'd go to those places and shoot. I don't know if I was supposed to or not. And the dump out there, as I've talked about in Franklin. And got into shooting international handgun, you know, metallic silhouettes with it, IHMSA, and just enjoyed it through the years a great deal. Have shot it here quite a few times. Got at least 80,000 rounds through it now, and she's still cranking. So I had to replace the trigger pin, and the ejector rod got weird at one point. So I replaced the ejector rod and the trigger pin in all those rounds. So I might just shoot the thing again. So yeah, and I think I like that H&K. If I can get that back strap on, I don't know. I'm gonna go online tonight and see if I can get a punch in here in time of the right size. And I don't know. I guess it just needs a gunsmithing set. Dylan probably has them, but a Midway or something, but a an actual gunsmithing punch set. I thought that's what I had, uh, but that might be what I need. I don't know. Is that a really common size or something for gunsmithing? 7/64, I think, or 2.8 millimeter. Excuse me. So we'll see about that. Otherwise, I'll just have it like it is. So I guess I'll let y'all go. Do I have any advice for young people? Uh, yeah, I got a little piece of advice. If you're not happy, if you're depressed about your life, young people, maybe you just need a change. Try not to be in a situation where you just wallow in unhappiness or depression. Now, some people, they're going to be unhappy, they're going to be depressed, no matter what the situation is. You got to maybe ensure that's not the problem. It often is, right? But if you're in a situation, whatever it might be, where you live or your job, your school, all these different things that could maybe affect your disposition and your outlook on life, and it's really negative, dragging you down. Think about just a new, a new approach. Maybe you need to move, change jobs, uh, reevaluate, try to be self-aware. As you get older, you know yourself better, and you learn uh, your negatives and your positives, and your weaknesses, your strengths, and what motivates you and what doesn't. Situations that you don't thrive in, and situations where you do tend to thrive. You kind of learn to know yourself better. But you really, life is short, and everybody says that, but it really is, and you need to just jump out of whatever you're in, possibly, just as a possibility. That might be the problem. You need a new direction, and don't be afraid to take that step. It could make a world of difference. You see that all the time with people. You see it in sports, don't you? You see someone who is a so-so player on an NFL team or whatever it is, and they get traded or they go to a different team, and all of a sudden they're just, wow, they turn into a superstar. It's just the environment, the people they're around. Uh, it can make a dramatic difference. It really can. Really can. I've been stuck in a few places where I didn't feel really comfortable job-wise or whatever. I dug through it, changed within the company, a few times, places, and got into some area I liked better or whatever. But by and large, uh, I've been very, very fortunate in my career. I I enjoy teaching, and the longer I did it, the more I enjoyed it. And that's when I didn't plan to stay in it my second time around, but I don't know, I just got all hooked into it, and the technology side of it was an exciting time in the 90s. And before I knew it, I'd been doing it again for 10 years, and I was just really, I think maybe I'm just meant to do this. Of all things, I can do other things, but I enjoy this, and I, I seem to do it okay, and I enjoy the kids and everything. I enjoy the material, and so I just, maybe this is just and by then I was like my 50s or whatever, and I was smart enough to see that this just suits me. I'm not getting rich doing it, but maybe I'm just cut out to do this. And 'cause I'd already done a lot of different things, and I think this is just what I was kind of meant to do. And so I did it up until I was 62 or something. I had to quit to do this full time. Really, I couldn't do both. But anyway, I mean, so you just never know. So I was fortunate. I landed in places that suited me well. But you could be in a place, and I was in the 80s in several different positions, and where I was not well suited, and I did need to get out of one or two, because I just wasn't as happy doing it. So you don't want to get stuck in something like that and stay for the rest of your life because you're afraid you won't find another job. And I don't know what's going to happen now. If you're young, with AI, lots of jobs may go away, and you might find yourself doing a lot of different things, whether you want to or not, right? But anyway, it's just something to think about. Something to think about. Okay, what? Can I just shoot this one more time? We're going to do a video with this. And I'll shoot it a bunch, okay, in that video. I just have the 2 mags, but I'll shoot it a lot. I want to shoot my 29 again. Indulge me, please. 44 Magnum, 44 Special. What a wonderful piece of hardware. All right. 51 years. I wonder how many years I'll fire this gun. I would say about as many years as I'll be alive. Yeah, at least as long as I can stand up and fire it, right? Yeah. That's one thing about my accident. It's a little glimpse into what it's like to be like, I don't know. I thought about that often. I'm going to physical therapy, and people come in and out of there, and their walkers can barely move, and just different things. It may be pretty old or not, but we all have seen a lot of really old people in their 80s or 90s, and they get around on a walker, or they can't get around, that kind of thing. And it's like I get this little glimpse, of what it could be like when I'm 98, yeah, or 108. Hopefully not 78. When you're not going to get around unless you're on a walker or something. Old age hits everybody, and a really old age if you survive long enough. But it's been a little glimpse into what it's like for people that just cannot get around without the help of some tool like that. And fortunately, I'm on the mend, and I'll be getting away from the crutches and all that here before too much longer. But a lot of people, they're not going to get away from that stuff. That's the rest of their lives, And so it's gives me more empathy for people like that. All right. Like some of you, I hear from some of you, and you got the infirmities that are permanent. All right. Before it gets dark, let's shoot some more. All right. Let's see if we can hit the gong double action. That's good trigger control practice to shoot double action. All right, I'll let you go. I've gabbed enough. I've fired enough. I've criticized H&K enough. Maybe you have a different take on that. Am I just being dumb about that? But I tried several punches on it that were almost that size. And, when it's a roll pin, it just doesn't work. The punch is too small. It just goes down in it. It's crazy. That's why I like Glock, the way they put together. You can get those pins out without any trouble. But most of the other gun companies like SIG and H&K, I guess, and I don't know if others, they tend to use roll pins. They're probably better in terms of not coming out, but I've never had trouble with the pins and Glocks just backing out, coming out when I didn't want them to. Have you had trouble with that? So anyway, but I think I like the gun. All right, let's let you all go. And anything I forgot to tell you about that you were dying to know about? Huh? Well, I appreciate you watching, and make sure you come around on Tuesdays and Fridays at least. Check out, of course, the Clips channel, and a lot of you are, whether you know it or not. Like I said last week, just because you see a Hickok 45 video pop up, a short or whatever, Doesn't mean it's on the Hickok 45 channel. It could be coming from the Hickok 45 Clips channel. And it's a clip from a video that was done earlier last week. Well, not that recently, probably last year, 2 years ago, a few months ago, or even 15 years ago, right? I mentioned that last week about me talking about something, and it's not that I ran to the camera last week to talk about that. It's a clip, a piece from an old video where I was talking about a lot of different things, and maybe that came up just like today. Like you could pull what I've talked about, two or three different things here, uh, mostly gun related, but not always. And so in 10 years, you could pull a clip off of this video, and it looks like I just ran to a camera in 2035 to talk about the H&K roll pen or something. But anyway, I'll let you go and I'll shut up. Okay, really appreciate your support. Uh, you know, appreciate all the kind words. For my injury, my motorcycle accident, and again, so many people have much worse things to deal with. Keep that in mind every time I start to complain or feel like I'm complaining, or I'm feeling bad about not getting out and doing things, for 10 weeks on the place, or frustrated. I, I immediately come back to, okay, this is just my foot and it's healing, slowly, but it is healing. And so many people have situations where they've lost their leg, or they have something that will not heal. And that doesn't look like me yet. I think it's going to heal. But just so many people in worse shape, and it's a kind of it's a definitely a humbling experience that we all get from time to time when we hurt ourselves and we can't get around. Nature's way of slapping us in the face a little bit and knocking us around, just as a reminder of how difficult things could be, you know. So anyway, how good we have it, and we take for granted, what I'm trying to say. So I'll let you go. I'll shut up. Life is good.